Rise and shine, children of the sun. My name is alkebulansechai, and I welcome you all to another episode of Becoming Co-Conscious. I say rise and shine because you know what? I feel this is the time for us to just stand up in our power, stand up and just illuminate this light that has been hidden within us. So rise and shine to whoever you are, wherever you may be. And I welcome you to Becoming Co-Conscious. What Becoming Co-Conscious is all about is that we are passionate about fulfilling our life's purposes. And so I strongly believe that the only way that may be possible is when you go back to yourself, go back to the true essence of who you are, and discover who you are at your core, at the crux, at your roots, and to build your life's purpose from that point. If it's your first time tuning in, welcome, and I hope that you'll enjoy everything that I have to say, and I do hope that you'll resonate. And if you do, then make sure to like and share with as many people as you possibly can, so that a lot of people can hear what you hear, a lot of people can awaken to what you've awakened to. So just a quick recap on the previous episode that was titled Building from Your Core. We were talking about the different phases of building, to say that whatever it is that you build, when you build your life's purpose, right, there are certain conditions that need to be put into place before you can even start building. Like, firstly, you need to know what it is that you're building. And once you've discovered that, you need to cultivate the proper environment for it. You need to build it in the proper environment. Like, there are certain things that like, let's say for a house, when you build a house, for example, there are certain areas where you can't build a brick house. There are certain areas where you can't build a double-story house, and so you need to identify the proper environment. And if there are certain things that need to be moved out of the way, then you need to be courageous enough to move them. Also, we were talking about identifying your materials and your workmanship. So obviously, when you build a house that is built out of bricks will require different materials from a house that is built out of wood. And so you need to look at your house, and you need not compare yourselves with others, because there are certain things that take longer to build than others. With that, I also mentioned that certain things take longer than others to build. Like, you can't compare okay, let's say you're pregnant, or an elephant, right? An elephant can't now be looking at a dog as to how long it took for the dog to be pregnant, because dogs are pregnant for 2 to 3 months, whereas an elephant is pregnant for like close to 2 years. So certain things take longer than others to fully mature before they can actually be brought out into the public. And so you need to stay in your own lane, I guess, and focus on yourself and just keep on working on yourself. So today's episode is titled What It Means to Be Chosen. The word chosen ones is like everywhere, I feel maybe especially for me, because I've been listening to a whole lot of people on YouTube especially. They talk about being chosen, how to identify if you are chosen, like a lot of things, like chosen ones, it's just out there. And so what does it really mean to be chosen? What does it entail? What sets you apart from everybody else? So when I think of the word chosen, I automatically think of the scripture in the Bible that says that many are called, but a few are chosen. And with that, it makes me think that, like when I think back to, I think it was my first episode, where I said that each and every one of us, before coming into this world, into this realm, we were given a life's purpose. So we already come into this earth innately knowing what it is that we are supposed to fulfill, and somehow I'm yet to discover why, but somehow we I don't know if I should say we forget what it is that we were purposed for, but we are unaware, right? We come into this earth unaware of what it is that we are purposed for. Unaware in the sense that we haven't awakened to that thought. We haven't awakened to that revelation. And so that is why we work towards coming back to the core of who we are, because by coming back to who we are, then all that information that was given us prior to coming into this realm then becomes enlightened. And then the closer or the more we go back to ourselves, the more signs we get, the more clues we get, along the way. And also, I believe that our life's challenges are a huge reminder of what it is we are actually purposed for in this lifetime. So we all have a purpose for this lifetime. If you believe in reincarnation, then I personally believe that we have a purpose for every time we come into this world. And so it is said that when we come into this earth, right, we actually agreed as to the mission that we will take on. So for me, I'm thinking actually of a movie, Avatar. I don't know if you've seen it before, but because I like animation, so I'm obviously going to watch it. So how it is that prior to coming into the earthly realm, we existed. Wherever we might have existed, if we existed in other galaxies, that is something that I'm also looking into. We existed in other galaxies, or in other planets and all of that. Or maybe if you believe that we dwelled with God, or source, whatever your belief may be. But prior to coming into this earth, we existed somewhere, and we lived, and we had tribes, soul tribes, we had soul families, and so with the example of the movie Avatar, it's like we existed where we existed, and because of the skills that we had, that we had in that lifetime, because of the knowledge that we have in that lifetime, and sometimes because of the ranking that we had in that lifetime, it qualified us to come here and serve according to the skills, the talents, the ranking, everything that we had in the life before coming into this realm. So actually, coming into earth is us going on a mission. So it's like, when there's a war and a country has soldiers, right? So they delegate each soldier to a particular mission. There are those who will serve as there are those who will serve the Marine. There are those who will serve in the Navy, and there are those who will serve on land. There are those who will work as the chefs, for the soldiers. There are those who will be nurses for the soldiers, or caretakers. There are those who will be commanders, and. But all of those missions, it is not to say that one may be inferior, but I don't want to bring out or convey the message as to say that your life's purpose may be inferior to somebody else's, because each and every soldier, no matter where you are, it is important. Each and every soldier who is participating in the war, they're important. You can't say the chef is less important than the commander, because the commander has to eat. And so if they don't have chefs, then that will mean that somebody will have to move from their position in order to fill the position of the chef, which means that if they move, then their spot is open, and if their spot is open, then the enemy can come in. And so each and every one of us are important. And so with all of that, each and every one of us needs to know what it is that we are actually here for, so that we may serve, so that we may win the battle or the war, whether we like it or not, whether we are aware of it or not. We are in a war. Whether you don't, I feel like so many people are oblivious to the fact that the war that we are fighting goes far beyond what it is that we actually see every day, like with our natural eye. And that is why we go through the challenges that we go through. That is why we are faced with all the things that we are faced with, because the enemy has been so smart, has been so strategic as to distract us from the real war, because you might be sitting there and maybe your family is against you. You might be sitting there and maybe, your relationships aren't as successful as you'd like them to be. You might be sitting there and maybe your children are, not behaving as you would like them to, or maybe your finances are in a slur. But all of those things are actually tactics by the enemy to deter you from the bigger picture. The bigger picture as to fulfill your life's mission. Most people are going around on this earth, and the norm is to, you wake up in the morning, you get ready, you get the kids ready maybe, and you go to work, come back home tired, have to take care of the kids, have to cook, have to check homework, have to tend to your spouse, sleep, and wake up the next day, the same routine over and over and over again. Whereas you, at the same time, you neglect your talents, you neglect your gifts. And even if maybe you in some way are spiritually enlightened, but do you believe that you are at your utmost best, even spiritually? So being chosen means that you already have whatever it is that you need to fulfill your mission here on earth. It is already inside of you. You do not need to go outside of yourself for you to find all those things. You don't need to go outside of yourself to find the treasure. You don't need to go outside yourself to find your gifts or your talents. And this makes me think of the book The Alchemy. I don't know if The Alchemist. Yeah, I don't know if you've read it. So it makes me think of that book where this man just travels the whole world, okay, maybe not the whole world, but like he's got a map, and it's a treasure map, and so he follows the map, obviously, and along the way he is challenged, he gets robbed, like there's a whole lot of stuff that happens. But when he actually gets to his destination, he realizes that there's no treasure. And then when he goes back home disappointed, then he finds that his treasure has actually been there all along. And so that is something, I personally discovered myself as well. And it's an exciting thing to actually discover your personal pot of gold at the end of your rainbow, because we do get storms in life, and each is unique to us, and all of our treasures are actually kept for us. So like there's nobody who can take your treasures from you. Nobody can take your gifts, your skills, your talents from you. All of those things are locked inside of you. And so a part of being chosen means that you need to work towards finding or discovering those treasures that are locked inside of you and actually using them. It's like when you discover these treasures, it's as though you've won the jackpots, and not like 5 million rands jackpots, it's like you've won like thousands and thousands of millions, because you actually realize that, like you are gold, and all that you have gone through has actually prepared you to use these skills and these gifts, not only for you, but to reach others and to touch the lives of others and to actually make a difference. Because in all entirety, we were created to overflow. And so our gifts are a service for us to overflow. So even when we have been called, as they say, as the scripture says that many are called, it is safe to say that not everyone who is called is living out their life's purpose, because we see a lot of people like who just give up along the way. And from a person maybe who is outside looking in, you might be so shocked as to why would this person give up if they've attained so much already in life, or if they've achieved so many things in life, But people do give up along the way, and each for certain reasons. We see graveyards that are stacked with people who lived this life with so much potential still inside of them, potential that hasn't even been tapped into, and we see people who seemingly waste away their talents, maybe because they might be consumed by the things of this life, maybe alcohol and drugs, and I don't know, like a lot of things. And it is quite a tragedy, and it is a loss for the kingdom of light, honestly. And so we all have dreams, and we all have aspirations, but most people are not living their dreams. Most people are just living to get by. Most people are in a zombie state, where they wake up, they do what needs to be done, like just to get the bills paid. And I understand. I honestly understand. I'm not coming from a point of judgment, but I just want to emphasize it because it's something that is there. It is real. Life is challenging. Life is very difficult. But our perspective on life, our perspective on why we are here needs to change. And so it goes without saying as well that purpose isn't an easy thing to fulfill, because if it was, then a lot of people would be living their lives purposes, the world wouldn't be what it is right now. We would be having a lot of people who are thriving, a lot of people who are helping each other, a lot of people who are loving each other. Because when you are in that state of living your life's purpose, you recognize that just because another person shines, it doesn't take away my light. Like, there is so much room for each and every one of us to shine, each of us in our little big corners, because each of us were destined to shine in different areas, in different parts of the world, in different communities. And so many people are called, but only a few are chosen. Purpose wasn't intended to be easy, not at all. And so there are certain things that need to take place before even stepping into your purpose. When you decide that you want to live your life according to your life's purpose, there will be plenty of challenges. That goes without saying. Even if you are unaware that you have got a purpose or what that purpose may be, you still have a lot of challenges. And I feel like sometimes, well, most of the times, maybe all the times, people on the outside looking into our lives see more beauty in us, right, than what we see in ourselves. They see more potential in us than what we see in ourselves. They see more power. They see more talents than what we see in ourselves. It's like a butterfly. That is said that butterflies don't see their wings, so they don't see they don't recognize their beauty. Instead, we are the ones who look at butterflies in so much admiration, and like, we just are so in awe of how marvelous, how beautiful of creatures they are, and yet they do not see all that beauty that they possess. So it's the same thing with us. Our, maybe, should I say, the enemy or our enemies who attack us continuously and vigorously, they see in us what we don't see in ourselves. And so you need to start questioning, why is this happening? Instead of resenting a situation, like, why is this happening? What am I not picking up? What am I not seeing? Instead of fighting back with them, look inside of yourself and work towards illuminating your lights, shining your lights even brighter, because light supersedes darkness. Darkness cannot fathom light. Darkness can never overcome the dark. The dark can never overcome the light. Yes. It's like in a dark room, when you switch on the lights, like, already the darkness is defeated, and the brighter the light is, then the more darkness is defeated. And so we need to realize that we are the light that this world needs. We are the light beings that other souls need, that all the darkness in this world is afraid of. And so obviously when you are afraid of something, it's like when you see a spider or maybe a snake or something, your immediate reaction is maybe to run away, I don't know, or maybe to kill it because you don't want it to kill you, because you fear it. So actually light is something that dark entities fear, and that is why maybe sometimes you see it even in your dreams, that you're being chased by dark shadows that want to overpower you, and you are unsure of why it is, but you must have some kind of idea that, you know what, I hold greatness, and there are so many things trying to attack this greatness, trying for it not to go out in the world. And but by shining your light even brighter, by allowing yourself, by tapping into your treasure and illuminating this light that is within you, that automatically defeats this darkness. And so when you are called, and when you get to a point where when you are called, you go through different challenges that work as well, that actually work as many things, but along the way you will find that your talents will, or your treasure will be refined. It will be tested. You will get so much pressure. It's like with diamonds before they become diamonds, you know. It will be tested, because then that is how you become chosen. There needs to be a distinguishing between coal and diamonds and just plain rocks. And so along the way, oh my gosh, you're going to purge. You're going to be pruned, you know. And sometimes pruning, I feel like sometimes we look at pruning and we think that it is maybe people being cut off out of our lives, you know, people maybe turning their backs against us, maybe us losing our jobs, maybe all of those things. But sometimes being pruned means that certain character traits that you have also need to fall away. It also means that you yourself will be questioned. Certain habits that you have may have to fall off, because for where you're going, for where you're destined to be, there are certain parts of even yourself that cannot go with you. For you to get to the next level, you need to be so light in spirit. You need to be so pure in your soul, in your spirit, in your heart, your intentions, your intuition, all these things. Like, you need to be so light so that you may be able to move and flow with the move of God, or with the move of source. So sometimes it will seem as though you're working backwards, all right? When all your peers are like progressing, and all your peers are like making things happen, succeeding in their careers, maybe finding true love, or building families, and you find that, oh my gosh, like all this time has gone by and I'm still in the same place. And maybe it feels like you are worse off than what you started with. And that's a part of being chosen. A part of being chosen means that there will be a time where you find yourself asking God, like, when your time will be. Like, God, when is my time? Like, when is my time? You will find that sometimes you are the one who always has to congratulate your peers, and nobody ever says congratulations to you, because like, there's nothing physical that they can congratulate. Yes, you might be, spiritually doing the work, doing your shadow work, going inside yourself, doing all that which needs to be done, but sometimes it doesn't show in the physical. Much like a tree, before the tree can actually shoot up and start producing fruits, it has to be grounded first. It has to build its roots deep into the earth, and depending on the size of the tree, the roots have to go deep enough to support the whole tree plus its fruits, not only for one season but for many seasons to follow after that. So it is a daunting thing, it is a daunting journey. Hence only a few will find themselves in a position where they are like, my faithful servant, or in a position where you consider yourself as chosen. Like, you're chosen, and now you're going out into the world to fulfill your mission. And all that we go through prior to stepping into our life's purpose isn't only to strengthen us, but it is also to expand our awareness or our consciousness. It is to open our minds to, instead of thinking linear, you cannot go into a place inexperienced. You cannot be the world's greatest singer if you do not know how to hold a tune. If you don't know how to hold a simple tune. And so the challenges that we face, as tedious as they may be, are actually guides as to the path that we ought to take. They say that real change is birthed through discomfort. And so something other than our challenges that serve as guides is our dreams. If you are a person who if you are a person who's gifted in seeing, maybe through visions, through dreams, maybe hearing, you know, you see, maybe your ancestors may be talking to you. If you don't believe in ancestors, maybe God or the Holy Spirit talks to you through your dreams and shows you certain things that maybe shows you glimpses of your future, you know, shows you glimpses of the impact that you have in the world. I mean, a lot of people I talk to or I'm listening to, they say that, you know, they see themselves on stages, they see themselves making an impact on people, you know, maybe working with children or working with the underprivileged people and actually helping them. So it is to show you that we were destined for greater than what we are currently living. We were destined to shine our light into this world and to make a difference. And sometimes, you know, you find signs, maybe by the things that you watch on TV. Maybe a certain movie really touches you to the core as to say, you know what, I am chosen. I mean, I feel like this movie is actually made for me, you know, to show me that, yes, it's like the Divergent, something that I used to I resonate with, you know, to say that I am not like other people. I don't fit in a certain box, you know. The system of this world, like, identifies things in boxing them. If you're not male, then you're female. If you're not black, then you're white. If you're not tall, then you're short, you know. And like, I don't fit all the boxes that the system has put into place. And so what does that mean? And then with the Divergence, it shows that girl who, okay, I don't remember her name, but that girl who didn't fit the boxes was actually the one to liberate that whole community. And they actually found that there's actually more to the world than the borders that have been put into place, you know. And so the systems of the world does not make way for people who ask questions. It does not make way for people who think outside of the box. It doesn't make way for people who are not normal. I mean, I think maybe being chosen means that it makes you crazy. You seem crazy because you talk crazy, because you believe crazy, because you hear crazy, you see crazy, you know. I mean, okay. For the sake of time, okay, but anyway, it's like I was talking to something that just like was like a revelation to me, is that in the system, right, they have okay, it's like with schizophrenia is said to be when you have, is it okay, schizophrenia, the thing where you have multiple personalities, and so you see things that other people don't see. You see dead people, you see a cat, you see a dog that talks to you, you know what I'm saying? But with with Africanism, with black culture, or in the spirits, let me just say in spirits, there are people who are actually gifted in seeing people who have passed on, and like they see them as if it's a physical person. And so you might be sitting next to somebody who might see maybe your grandmother, and who maybe wants to relate a message to you through them, and but the system calls that crazy. The system boxes that into schizophrenia, and so you are that person would then have to be medicated, and all of that is to suppress that gift. I don't know if I hope I'm making sense. So the system does not make way for people who are chosen, because the system is something that chosen people are supposed to break for the people, for the community, for the people who are oppressed by the system. And by the system, I mean, the bigger system, not maybe the school system. It also plays a part, but there are certain systems put into place that are not even, that people are not even aware of. And so that's why if you are chosen, you will know what you are called out to fulfill. You will know what you are missioned, what your mission is. And if you don't wake up to your calling, if you don't wake up to that mission and you don't fulfill your mission, it means that the oppressors will prevail. It means that it means that people will always be imprisoned, because you haven't gotten out of yourself and realized that actually there's more, there's a bigger picture than this life that I'm living right now. So yeah, okay, yet another thing about being chosen is that you need to succumb to divine timing. And personally, this has been something that I have struggled with for such a long time. Especially, in my recent past, I just broke through this thing of divine timing. It used to frustrate the living hell out of me. But what I learned is that divine timing isn't necessarily about chronological time. Like, it's not about, it will happen on the 20th of June, 2022. You know what I'm saying? Divine timing is more about alignment. It is to say that you can't just be sitting down and expecting your promises to come to you. But you need to be aligned. The physical and the spiritual need to be aligned. Yes, the spiritual realm is superior to the physical realm, but for things to happen in the physical realm, we need the spiritual realm. So there has to be a balance between the two. Like, you can't be focused on work in the physical realm without paying attention to the spiritual realm, and you can't focus on working and on yourself in the spiritual realm without focusing on the physical realm, because everything, yes, does start in the spirit, but it needs to manifest in the physical, right? And so it's like yin and yang, the good and the bad. One cannot do without the other. One needs the other. If it's all good, then it's bad. And if it's all bad, then it's bad. So there needs to be a balance between the two. And so one thing that I have learned about divine timing is that you need to be able to surrender, right? Yes, there's a time where you have to work, you have to put in the work, but there's also a time where you need to allow God to work. You need to allow Source to work. You need to allow your ancestors to work, your spirit guides to work. Because we don't see in the spirit, like we don't see everything in the spirit, right? There are certain things that actually go on in the spirit realm that we are unaware of, as much as there are certain things that happen in the physical realm that we are unaware of. We only see what we see, with our eyes immediately. We don't see what happens behind us. We don't see what happens in our neighbors' houses. We don't see, so God knows all things. The Spirit knows all things. The Spirit sees all things. And there are certain things that are orchestrated in the Spirit that need us to just like chill and take the back seats, and let go of the need to want to control all the, like, everything all the time, and want to know why, when, how, and just allow God to just work. With that, I'm not saying that we should be complacent. Yes, we need to put in the work, but do understand that there are certain things that we cannot control. And then that means that we have to surrender. And a part of surrendering is surrendering to divine timing. A part of surrendering means that you need to let go and just like flow with the flow of God's move. Like there are certain times where He will bring certain things in our lives, and maybe those things are not according to our plans or according to our time, and we need to be able to receive what God gives us, if it does come from God, because the closer you get to God, then your discernment will be stronger. So sometimes He'll bring things to us that we don't expect, that are totally not even within our plans. But if it comes from God, we need to be able to trust Him and take it and move with it how He wants us to move. Because when you're chosen, you need to realize that when you go, God needs you, or Source needs you, to be at a level where He can speak to you, and you will be able, He can speak through you. And maybe there are certain places where you will have to speak, and maybe you thought that maybe you have to be on TV, right? Maybe you want to be a presenter or something, but God wants you on YouTube. And maybe because there are certain people who are going to hear you on YouTube who wouldn't have had access to you on a particular show on TV, or wouldn't have tuned in, or maybe people who don't watch TV at all. But because He knows, He leads you to go into YouTube. So you are working to fight on being on TV, and it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So it requires you to just like allow God to move as He moves. Allow God to take you where He wants to take you. Allow God to speak through you however way He wants to speak through you. And that is a very difficult thing, because letting go of control means that you have to get out of yourself, get out of your ego, drop your ego, and take upon the spirit of humility, and sometimes I feel that is the downfall for many people, because letting go of your ego, letting go of and letting go of the need to control and actually come to a point where you surrender fully is where we slip up. And I also believe that that is actually the final part, the last stage before you are actually catapulted, when you're actually plunged into your destiny, is that when you are able to let go of your ego and take upon humility. So, oh my gosh, I had so much to say, and I actually just wanted to, like, it was a lot. And you know what, I'll actually be on TikTok and on YouTube, and I'll be going more into what it means to be chosen. So you can catch me on YouTube and on Instagram it's at Becoming Co-Conscious on YouTube and on Instagram. So I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope you share with as many people as you can share it with, so that a whole lot of people can start living their lives' purposes, so that we can make this world a better place. My name is Alkebulan, and it has been a pleasure to share all of this with you. And thank you for tuning in. I love you all. And remember, rise and shine.